So what about the future? And why hasn't there been some dramatic event on September 28th? Well, we weren't looking for a dramatic event on September 28th because we were seeing this whole thing as the rebirth of the nation of Israel in 3 phases. All right? So, sort of the seed of Israel. And so that's pretty good for Israel. You know, you don't establish a nation's infrastructure in a day or even a decade. It takes more than a generation to get a full infrastructure up and running. As I've been going to Israel since 1990, gone almost 40 times, I would say that now they have the infrastructure. They've got the freeway systems that actually don't have potholes. They've got the tollways. They've got the good airport. They're up and running now. And so first level is to say, you know, this is just a marker of God's faithfulness, that the nation has been fully birthed now, rebirthed, if you will. But I'm not going to just leave it there. I'll give you more than that. But I want to switch back to the United States. A lot of people have associated the blood moons with some difficulty in the United States. And it so happens that every time one of these waves of tetrads come through, that there is an empire that is peaking and is about to turn against the Jews. So the Roman Empire, if you look at the textbooks, you will find that their greatest extent of land territory was 162, 163 under Marcus Aurelius. I didn't make this up. The Frank Kingdom under Charlemagne peaked in the early 800s. The Ottoman Empire peaked right before they expelled the Jews in 1492. The Ottoman Empire also was peaking. They lasted a little, their peak, because they took in a bunch of Jews, their peak lasted for about another 65 years. Then they started their decline. And now we have the question before us. Is the United States peaking? Is the Western world peaking? And I think so. But you see, we don't need to get worked up over what didn't happen on September 28th, because a nation doesn't rise and fall in a year. These are longer term trends. So the blood moons tend to mark sort of longer term patterns. However, in the book, we make a case that goes like this, that for the United States, that the moral peak of the United States was in the late 1940s, after having just established the nation of Israel, pushed that through in the United Nations, the most righteous act ever that ever occurred on American soil, I suppose. That was the moral peak of the United States. You've heard of the Greatest Generation? Maybe anyone here served in World War II? Okay. My father's 88 and just missed serving. Just missed. That in the 60s was the political peak. Now we have the great confrontation between Russia, USSR, and the United States in those days. But in terms of power and strength, is there anything more than putting the man on the moon? The first country to put the man on the moon. I mean, it was just a marker, 1969. You just weren't going to mess with the United States. We were overtaking the world in that time. And my suggestion is it's the financial peak, that we've seen the financial peak of the United States.